The Esen Buqa Ayurbarwada War was a war between the Chagatai Khanate under Esen Buqa I and the Yuan dynasty under Ayurbarwada Byanchu Khan and its ally the Ilkhanate under Ayurbarwada. The war ended with the victory for the Yuan and the Ilkhanate, but the peace only came after the death of Esen Buqa in 1318. Background: the Yuan Emperor Ayurbarwada maintained friendly relations with Ayurbarwada, ruler of the Ilkhanate. As for the relations with the Chagatai Khanate, the Yuan forces had, in fact, already for a long time been entrenched in the east. This was originally meant to keep Chapa in a submission, but since the latter's defeat in 1310, the garrisons were perceived as a threat to the Chagadade state. In order to solve the shortages of pasture grounds, Esen Buqa I, ruler of the Chagatai Khanate, sent envoys in an attempt to negotiate with the border garrison commander Tufaji Jinsank in order to convince them to adjust their position in 1312. The negotiations, however, did not go well, and strained relations between the two. Esen Buqa sent tributes to Ayurbarwada in 1312 and 1313, but the Yuan court's attempts to restrict trade between the two states kept tensions high. Ayurbarwada's emissary, Abishka, to the Ilkhanate while traveling through Central Asia, revealed to a Chagadayid commander that an alliance between the Yuan and the Ilkhanate had been created, and the allies' forces were mobilizing to attack the Khanate. Esen Buqa ordered Abishka to be executed and decided to attack the Yuan because of these events, thus breaking the peace that his father Duwa had brokered with China in 1304. At the same time, Muslim Ozbek Khan mounted the throne of the Golden Horde in 1312. He proscribed Buddhism and shamanism among the Mongols in Russia, reversing the spread of the Yuan culture. Yuan envoys seems to have backed Tokhta's son, a rival candidate, against Ozbek. Esen Buqa attempted to gain an alliance of Ozbek Khan against the Yuan and the Ilkhanate, but without success. The war, the element of surprise, however, was lost when a Chagadade official defected to Tufaji's camp and revealed the plan. Tufaji withdrew his troops to beyond the Irtish, then defeated Esen Buqa's troops in the spring of 1314. The magnitude of the defeat was such that Esen Buqa sought peace, claiming to the Yuan court that Tufaji had moved to attack first. Chungka, a son of Tufaji, convinced the Chagatai Khan that none of the Yuan troops besides Tufaji's would move against him if he attacked again. Tufaji, however, again kept Esen Buqa's troops from victory. The Yuan Emperor Ayurbarwada, growing impatient with Esen Buqa, ordered all of the garrisons to invade the Chagatai realm. Hami was conquered soon afterwards. After his failure, Esen Buqa warned Ozbek Khan that the Yuan Emperor Ayurbarwada would replace him with another from the House of Jochi in 1315. This testimony was never corroborated with any evidence. Ozbek was suggested not to believe it by one of his viziers, and he therefore refused to help Esen Buqa. In an attempt to make up for some of his losses, Esen Buqa dispatched his brother Kabik with a large force to attack Khorasan, a part of the Ilkhanate, sometime after 1315. Before that, the Ilkhan Ayurbarwada drove out the Karanas of Dawood Khoja, son of Qilu Khwaja from Afghanistan. The invasion of the Ilkhanate was initially successful. Kabik and Yasir defeated Ayurbarwada's army at the Murghab River and advanced to Herat. But it turned sour when news reached the army that Talas and the pasture of Isik Kul had been captured by Yuan forces under the Kipchak commander Chonga. Many of the Chagadade troops' families had been located there, and, already tired of campaigning, they fled back home. The defection of a Yuan contender, Kuptshu, to Esen Buqa's side did little to improve the situation. Around this time Yasir defected to Ayurbarwada and engaged in battle with Kabik's troops. The Yuan army crushed Esen Buqa's resistance and plundered his winter quarters on the Isik Kul as well as his summer residence in Talis. The disaster was completed when Prince Tortima deserted to the Yuan. Only after Esen Buqa's death in 1318, his brother and successor Kabik mitigated the situation with the Yuan and the Ilkhanate. He enjoyed peaceful relations with the Yuan despite Ayurbarwada's re-establishment of nominal authority in Turkmenistan. This allowed peace to prosper again in the region.